Jiminy Crickets!
I'm the guy they call Little Mickey Mouse. Got a sweetie down in the chicken house. Neither fat nor skinny, she's the horse's. Winnie is my little Minnie Mouse. When it's feeding time for the animals, and they howl and growl like the cannibals, I just turn my heel to the hen house deal, and you'll hear me sing this song. I have listened to the cuckoo his cuckoo, and I've heard the rooster's cock-a-doodle-doo. With the cows and the chickens, they all sound like the dickens when I hear my little Minnie.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Jiminy Cricket's mini episode number 9. And today we're going to be talking about Disney movies and movie news. And this is part 3 of our 3-part news series. And we've already released one episode about Disneyland and Walt Disney World. So hope you guys enjoyed those. And so this is going to be about movies today. And we'll just get right into the stories that we have. How are you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing great.
And just remember, guys, this is live, so you hear us cough, you hear us sneeze, anything like that, ambulances, you know why.
Mouse clicking.
Yeah. So we're going to start off with a story that is not that pleasant to talk about, but we definitely wanted to mention it here, which is the passing of Harry Anderson. Mm-hmm. And he passed away on April 16th at the age of 65, and he actually died of a stroke, which apparently was he had contributed causes that led to the stroke, and part of that was influenza and heart disease. So this is really sad news for me. You know, growing up a kid in the 80s, like, I would see him on TV all the time, and he would always be either on Night Court, which, I mean, that ran from 84 to 92. So either he was on Night Court or he was on some TV special that I was watching. So I just remember him being on TV all the time.
Yeah, the first time I saw him, he was on a few episodes of Cheers. And this was before Night Court, and he would come in, and he was like a con artist. Yeah. And he would do like magic tricks and things to fool people out of, money or whatever. He'd come into the bar and trick somebody. And I think there was also an episode where Sam wanted to get revenge on somebody or something. Sam the bartender, for those who don't know that show that well. And he kind of sought out his help in getting even with somebody, and they planned out a whole scheme, and so that was kind of his thing. So he was kind of known for being a magician. He was like a really great sleight of hand artist, and he was also just had a great personality. So that's why when they brought him on to Cheers, they kind of combined his both talents with his, his ability to do magic and then his, comic timing. And so then he got the gig on Cheers, and the character that he played, he was the judge, but he was kind of like not the traditional kind of judge, because he was really young. And then
you mean Night Court, right?
Night Court. What did I say?
Cheers. You said Cheers again.
Oh, yeah. No, I did mean Night Court. But he like, whenever they brought you into his quarters, he had all sorts of gags and things all over his office, and he was all into magic tricks and everything. So he kind of kept that whole persona as part of that show. And that show, when it first started, it was kind of off kilter to a degree. But over the years, it just got wackier and more like surreal, like, than. But I always enjoyed that show. I always thought that was a terrific comedy.
Yeah.
I never missed it. But I watched it religiously as a kid. It was one of my favorites. The song is like in my head right now from the Night Court theme.
Yeah, back when TV shows had theme songs.
It had that like snap.
Yep.
Yeah, so Anyway, he was terrific on that show. I always thought it was so funny that he had like this obsession with Mel Torme. I always thought that was kind of random and funny.
Didn't Mel Torme cameo on the show too?
Yeah, a couple times, and like he was just like this crazy fan, and Mel Torme and him, like he couldn't stand him because he was like nuts for him, and like every time they got together, like bad things happened to Mel Torme, like. So he thought he was a jinx and he didn't want to be around him. So it broke his heart that his idol didn't want to be his friend. But anyway, that was kind of a running gag on the show. As far as Disney goes, he started, like you alluded to, appearing on lots of those primetime specials for Disney in the 80s. They kind of like just, their thing was they just kind of like took all the NBC roster of TV stars and kind of interspersed them on those specials, and he would be one of them at that time. So there's three I specifically remember. One of them would be the 30th anniversary special, where he was...
Yeah, Disneyland's 30th anniversary.
Yeah, in 1985, and he was just kind of walking around the park, talking to the crowds, doing magic tricks and things. And then again, the following year in 86, they had that summer vacation party episode. Yeah. He kind of did the same thing. He kind of talked with all the teenagers that were there and did magic tricks for them and different things. Oh, and I specifically remember that Harry Anderson did like some sort of a magic trick with Tina Yothers from Family Ties. They had like this little skit they did on one of those. And then there was a circus episode. It was like the magic circus at Disneyland, I take that back. It was like a magic trick show. And they had David Copperfield, is that his name? David?
Yeah, David Copperfield, yeah.
Yeah, and he made the castle disappear.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I think Harry Anderson was the host of that show. So, like, he was really involved in a lot of those primetime Disney shows. And then he also did, he reprised Fred MacMurray's role as the absent-minded professor in a made-for-TV version of it. That I think was that one of the Disney Sunday movie?
It was A Wonderful World of Color.
So it was... of Disney, I mean.
Yes, yeah, Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color.
Magical World of Disney. Because the article we're looking at is incorrect. It says Wonderful World of Color, but no, it was the Wonderful World of Color went off the air in 1969. So,
right, it wasn't then.
They brought back the show, but it had a different name by the time he was on it. I think that's when it was being called The Magical World of Disney, which was after Sunday. For a while, it was called Sunday Movie, but this is right after Sunday Movie ended. Then they started calling it Magical World of Disney. So I think that's when he did that movie, was right after Sunday Movie.
Yeah, because the Sunday Movie was on ABC, but the Magical World of Disney was on NBC, so that makes sense.
They moved it over to the other network. Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, he did it before Robin Williams did it a few years later, because they had that movie Flubber with Robin Williams, where he played the same character again. But Harry Anderson did it first. So, well, Fred MacMurray did it first.
Right.
Probably the best, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so he was on that. And then also for the Disney Channel in 1990, he did a special where he talked all about the history of Disneyland. You remember what that one was called? Where he was in the Lily Bell train?
No.
You never saw that? Oh, I'll have to send you a link.
I'm sure I have.
Yeah.
It's not coming to my mind right now, the name of it.
Yeah, he I think it was called Disneyland Inside Story. And it was kind of based on that book by Randy Bright, I think. Disneyland Inside Story, which came out, the book was published a few years earlier. Like, I think that came out maybe in 87, 88. But this special was kind of informed by that book, because it mostly covered the same stuff that book covered. And of course, I had read that book cover to cover by the time I saw that special, so it was no news to me. But anyway, he got inside the Lily Bell caboose, and it became magical. It became a time machine, and he went through time and talked. Like, he would look out the windows of the train, and he would see Disneyland in the past and talk about the history of the park from the beginning up to the present day. And then at the end, they did a whole thing about what was coming in the 90s, and that's back when they were still calling 90s the Disney decade. And he talked about all these plans for future projects, and probably about 75% of them never happened. But anyway, it's kind of fun to look back at what they were promoting as their future plans back then.
Yeah, definitely.
But that one really stands out as a special one. I think he was also involved in the Disney MGM Studio grand opening special. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he was really... And the other really neat thing about him is he was born in Rhode Island, where I live.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's really sad because, yeah, he was a big part of my childhood. I really enjoyed him. I thought he was so funny and just a really nice guy, just relatable and funny and kind of wacky. And I don't know. I'm sad that he died so young.
I know. Yeah, definitely. I mean, he was definitely... I could see why Disney used him, because he was like family friendly. Like you said, wacky. He had his magic tricks. He appealed to like a wide audience. So
yeah.
That's why he got all of these specials, and he fits in with Disney really well. So
yeah, and
that
also,
is too bad.
One of his traits too is he kind of dressed out of date. Like, it was the 80s, but he was kind of dressing like in 40s clothes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He wore like the painted ties and fedoras and the round glasses. You know, he kind of was stuck in a different time, which was kind of intriguing, another intriguing thing about him. So, yeah. He will be missed.
Definitely.
And remembered. Mm-hmm.
Yes. We got to keep his memory alive through Disney.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So, moving on to another topic.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Jungle Cruise movie they have slated a couple of stars to star in the movie. So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is going to star in it, and also Emily Blunt.
Mm-hmm.
And I found an article that actually said that it is going to be set in the Amazon jungle during the 1920s.
Yeah.
And that Dwayne Johnson is going to be a boat captain, and Emily Blunt is going to be a scientist joining his character on this expedition.
You know who I'm picturing? The cartoon Tarzan. The character Jane.
Yes.
That's the first thing I think of.
You picture her as that?
Yeah, like it's the same character. Kind of maybe her mixed with Katharine Hepburn from The African Queen. You know, that movie from the from the early 50s. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I can see it. I can see them like he's like the rough, tough American guy who smokes cigars, and she's like the pristine English woman with manners, and she's a scientist and she's analytical about it. I can see that.
Yeah.
I've already got the whole movie in my head based on that casting. But then
you've already written the script.
Yeah, I can see it all now. But yeah, I mean, I think it might be cute. I don't know. I don't really mind them doing this. I just hope it's not going to affect the actual attraction the way that the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, in my mind, ruined that attraction.
Right.
And I just hope the same thing doesn't happen where they add like a Dwayne Johnson audio animatronic into the Jungle Cruise. That would just be disgusting to me. I don't think I can handle it. I just would not want to see that.
Yeah.
But I also, if they do make a movie, I would like to see them add some nods to the attraction in the movie, like the rhinos chasing the rhino that chases the hunters up the pole, you know? Yep. Mm-hmm. If they could put like a scene like that in the movie, and
yes,
have the attacking hippopotamus scene. Mm-hmm. They could add things that actually happen on the ride. That might be
they definitely have to do that. Yeah, they have to have Schweitzer Falls.
Yeah.
Like all of these things. Yes, they definitely have to do that.
So then the other, they casted another person, Jack Whitehall, as the brother of Emily Blunt.
Yeah, I guess he's like a British actor.
Yeah, and I guess he's like the comic relief or something. I don't know. Because he's kind of a comedic actor. Mm-hmm. And then they have one thing that kind of intrigued me about this article, even though it has nothing to do with the article itself, is they mention there's a Disney property coming out later this year called The Nutcracker and the Four Realms. Do you know what that is?
It's a movie that's coming out around Christmas time, I think.
Is it a made-for-TV movie, or is it a theatrical?
It's a theatrical movie, yeah.
Is it a cartoon, or is it live action? I don't know anything about this.
It's live action and CGI.
See, this is the first I've even heard of this one. And there's
I don't know much about the story or
anything. There's no trailers
but...
or anything out for that one yet, so there's not that much information about it.
Yeah.
So we can't really report on it yet. It's probably based on the ballet. I mean, the same story as the ballet. I always found like always tried to like figure out what exactly the story is in the ballet, because it's a little vague. Like it's not like a traditional beginning, middle, end kind of story. And the ending of it just kind of ends, and there's no resolution, and there's no real conflict. I mean, there's a conflict early in the story with the rats and the whole battle with the toy soldiers and everything. But that gets resolved in the first act, and then just basically the whole rest of it is just Sarah, the main character, traveling with the Nutcracker to his fantasy world and experiencing all these different types of characters dancing for her.
Right, different countries and stuff like that,
like the Russian dance and the Oriental dance and all that stuff. So, I mean, there's no real plot. And I've never really seen a good treatment of it where they really turned it into a good story. So, I would like to see Disney do something good with it and turn it in, somehow make it into a good story with conflict and a resolution and everything, and a climax at the end and everything like that. So, we shall see. But that intrigues me.
Yeah, that is.
I wonder what that's all about.
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely agree with you on the ride. I don't want them to be adding like a rock animatronic or anything like that to any of the
Emily
attractions
Blunt.
in any of the parks. No thanks. So, but and then they definitely have to do some sort of homage to the attraction in the movie, because everybody knows the attraction came first, so they definitely have to do that. And there is potential for this to be a good movie. Especially, I like the whole 1920s vibe, and how they could really pull off a really good movie. And I just hope that it really is like that. Like the first Pirates, I really enjoyed the first Pirates, and I thought that Pirates had different things from the attraction in that movie and things like that. So, if they do it like that,
the dog with the keys,
right? So if they do it like that, then all of us true Disney fans will notice all of those little things and we'll love the movie. So I have high hopes for it.
We'll see. Yeah. It's interesting they picked the 1920s, because right now in the parks it's kind of set in the late 30s, early 40s. And I'm guessing that based on the loop of music they play while you're in the queue, it's all like late 30s, early 40s music. So that'll be interesting to see if they swap out that and kind of bring it back a decade into the 20s and see what happens if they start playing 20s music in the queue instead. Which I think, that would work. They wouldn't have to change really anything except the music, because it could be set in the 20s just the way it is. I mean, things hadn't changed that much in that 10 years when it comes to the jungles, so jungle exploration. So anyway, looks interesting. When is that coming out? Do we know?
The only thing that I know is that its production is expected to start this month sometime, so they haven't even started anything.
They haven't even, yeah. So it'll probably
no real
be
date.
A couple years.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, on to a current movie that's coming out actually this Friday, May 25th. We watched the full Solo: A Star Wars Story trailer, and we just wanted to give our thoughts on that. So what do you think, Chris? I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, I watched it twice, and, you know, despite the vibe that I give out, I really am a fan of the first 3 Star Wars movies, and I've seen all 3 I actually, when they re-released them in the 90s, right before the prequels were released, they did a whole thing where they every few months they released them in order, 3, 4, 5, or 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, when Lucas added in new scenes and stuff.
He added new scenes and CGI and all this stuff. I went to the theater to see all 3 of them. I was into it. I worked on Star Tours at Disney MGM Studio. I mean, I do have a connection to this franchise. I just kind of lost interest with the prequels, and I think I was disheartened by them to such a degree that I just don't have any interest in the sequels, I guess. I'm trying to think of the right
7,
word.
8, and 9. Episode 7, 8, and 9.
And I haven't even seen the 7 and 8 yet. And I have them. I own them, but I haven't watched them. I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I want to go there. Because I just feel like it's been ruined for me. But anyway, I did have some emotional feels from watching this trailer, but not from the character playing Solo. I didn't really care for him. I felt like he was lacking just that extra something special that Harrison Ford has. I feel like he just doesn't have that sense of presence that Harold Ford has. I know they can't use Harold Ford because he's too old. What did I say, Harold?
Harold.
I know they can't use Harrison Ford because he's too old, but I mean, I just feel like they could have picked somebody better that just has a little more stage presence. I just feel like he's not strong enough of a personality. I mean, I could be proven wrong when I go see the movie, but to me, he just seemed a little too flaky, kind of just not a strong personality. I could see Chris Pratt playing that role. Yeah. Like, he would be perfect, but unfortunately, it would be kind of weird because he's playing that character in the, what is he? What is that franchise?
He's Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, and it's basically...
And he's in Jurassic World, too.
And
so.
And that's basically the same character as Harrison. It's like the Harrison Ford character of those movies. Yeah. So it'd be really weird if he was also playing Solo. Han Solo, It would be like, oh my god, enough of him. So, but they need to find someone like him that just has that something special about him, that extra something that you can't really define what it is, and you can't learn it. You have to be born with it. It's just something that Harrison Ford organically has. He was born with that, and it's something Chris Pratt has. It's just that extra something that just, when you see him on the big screen, it's just like he is the focus of all your attention. There's certain actors and actresses over the decades, like Bette Davis is a good example on the female side of the coin, where when they're on the screen, they're the center of attention. And I just don't get that from the actor they chose. Yeah. And when you have a whole movie centered around this legendary character that people love, you need to find someone to fill those shoes that can fill those shoes, because they are huge shoes to fill. And the one thing that really everybody's talking about, how because Harrison Ford's famous line is, what is it? There's going to be, I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
And in the movie, the play on it is because he's young and hasn't experienced a lot yet. Instead of saying I have a bad feeling, he says I have a good feeling about this.
Oh yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
So when he read that line in the trailer, it was just like, what a disappointing reading of that line. Like, it was just like, it fell flat to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And then there was this line about how Chewbacca said he was 180 years old.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, you look good for your age." Like, it was like, come on. Like, you live in outer space, you know that creatures live older. It's like, it seemed too, like, grounded to Earth. Like,
right.
What we would say if we were Earthlings. And he's not an Earthling. He's from a galaxy far, far away, where he's probably, his whole life, he's been around different species of aliens and things. So
right.
It just seemed like a very, like, referential type humor that I feel like it doesn't need to be in Star Wars films, because it you don't want to, like, have it relatable to Earth. You want it to be something that's completely different than our experience on Earth. I don't know, that just kind of threw me off too. Everything else in that trailer that I saw was definite eye candy, and I really appreciated. I loved Chewbacca being there. Mm-hmm. Perfect casting for Lando Calrissian. Yes. Like, amazing. They need to have someone with that type of presence playing, because he's perfect. Like, that's right. The type of actor. Donald Glover, right?
Yes.
That's the kind of actor you want playing Han Solo, you know? Because Donald Glover was perfect casting. And he even looks a lot like, who's the actor?
Billy D.
Billy D. Williams, that's right. He even looks a lot like he did when he was younger. So,
yeah.
Perfect casting. And I mean, you know, so that I'm happy. That I'm excited. I'm more excited to see him, to tell you the truth. And then there was this one character that they just showed for a brief second, and it was this African American woman with, like, a afro. Mm-hmm. It's like, ooh, I want to see that character. What's she all about?
The actress is Tandy Newton.
Yeah, like, ooh, I want to. What's she gonna bring to this story?
Yeah,
like, I'm more intrigued by the side characters than the main character. So, I mean, I'm sure this is gonna be a great movie, but I just wish they would have picked somebody with a little bit more gravitas than this, the actor they picked. I don't even remember what his name is. Do you remember?
It's, Alden Ehrenreich.
Is this like his first thing, big thing, or has he done
his first big thing. He's done other things, but, you know, nothing that you would ever really know unless you looked it up.
And I don't even think he looks all that much like Harrison Ford. I mean, he just looks like somebody with brown hair and probably maybe a little bit, probably the same height, but a little bit scrawnier than he was, because they want him to seem younger than, you know, he's in his early 20s in this movie, not, you know, because by the time it gets to the Star Wars trilogy, he was probably in his early 30s, right?
Right.
So
yeah.
This is like 10 years before. I mean, so I don't know if anybody else. Chris Pratt would be probably too husky, really, to look like Harrison Ford. But as far as personality, he could definitely pull it off.
Yeah.
Can you think of any other actors in their early 20s that have what Harrison Ford had and could bring that to the role? I can't really think of any.
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to do some research.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I actually it's kind of funny because I literally feel like everything you said just took the words out of my mouth.
Oh, sorry.
No, I mean, it's fine. But
well, why don't you give it a shot and see if you can bring any more to the... I'll shut my mouth and let you have the final say.
Of course it's fine. I actually was saying this recently that I do think Chris Pratt is the modern day Harrison Ford, because in the Marvel movies he's playing like the kind of like a Han Solo character, and in Jurassic World it's like the Indiana Jones type character.
Exactly.
And he's doing it at the same time. So,
yeah.
I mean, and he's funny, and he's great, and he's confident. And, I mean, that's everything that Harrison Ford is and
You know
was.
who else could play the part if they were younger?
Mm-hmm.
Who we were just talking about, Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
But he looks nothing like Han Solo.
That's the
He's
problem.
way
the
too
looks.
built.
Yeah.
And he's way too old.
Right.
Like, at that point, just have Harrison Ford play it. But
right.
Can you imagine him trying to play Harrison Ford trying to play a 20-year-old? That would be so sad.
He would just do the acting, and they would just CGI his young face onto him.
Right, exactly.
Oh boy. Well, I'm glad they didn't do that. I think that would be a little bit over the top.
That would have been worse, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, like everything that you said, I am looking forward to all of the side characters. Even in this trailer, like, they kind of allude to some sort of a story, but not really. Mm-hmm. So you don't really know what's happening. You know, he's being recruited for something, and...
Oh, wait till we get to another trailer, because I know the whole story.
Oh, you do? Okay, I don't want to watch that trailer then. Because
you've already seen it. No, it's one of the ones we're going to talk about tonight.
Oh, okay.
It's a different movie.
Yeah.
But I'm just putting it out there. When we get to it, I already know the whole plot just based on the clues from the trailer.
Okay.
Which is terrible to give so much away.
It is. So that's one thing about this trailer. Like, they're showing that he's being recruited for something, but they're not really showing what. There's all of these characters that they're kind of giving you flashes of, like, these new characters that are going to come into the story, but you don't really know how they're all connected.
Yeah.
So I really like that.
Because a lot of them look really, like cool.
Yes.
Characters.
And this movie has the first female droid in it. So the one droid that they show in the trailer is a female droid, so...
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I like that, too.
Mm-hmm.
And I am actually, like, really excited to find out how Han and Chewie meet.
Yeah, and, that will be interesting. See, I'm interested in the story, definitely. Yeah. The plot, how it all, like, getting the whole backstory, the official, like, there's been fan fiction galore, but the official canon backstory on, how Lando and Solo met, and how Chewie, and that I'm into. That I want to know, because, like I said, I'm a huge fan of the original trilogy, and that all is connected. It's all about the original trilogy. See, these new movies are all about a new set of characters that I don't have an emotional bond with. They have the original characters in it, but they're side characters. They're not the main focus of what's going on. That's really like why I'm not that excited to watch it. But when it comes to, like, where did Han Solo come from? That I can sink my teeth into. That I'm interested in.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Gosh. I'm so disappointed that they didn't find somebody better. Maybe they'll prove us wrong. Maybe we'll see the movie and there'll be something we're not seeing from the trailer that...
Yep. Yeah, just little snippets of his performance isn't like giving you the overall feel of it, and when you go to the theater and see it, you get like a better understanding. That's what I'm hoping for, because I have tickets. I'm going to see it on Friday, and I have, I'm just hoping that he pulls it out, because everything else about this movie looks really good, and I'm just really excited to see it.
Yeah, it really reminds me more of the original trilogy than anything of the other stuff they've done. Like, this really kind of feels like part of the original, just based on the trailer. It just feels more like part of the original story that kind of is the best part of this whole franchise. So definitely something to look forward to, and I feel like this is going to be a huge, like, blockbuster. I mean, it's millions. It's going to make millions this weekend, especially it's a 3-day weekend, so
Memorial Day.
It's going to be crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why they kind of moved Infinity Wars earlier, because they were going to bring it out in May, but then they pushed it into the end of April because they didn't want to compete with themselves with these two movies, Infinity Wars and Solo. So
and his fantastic box office that movie did, I bet you this one's going to be even bigger.
You think so?
I think so. Just because...
I mean, it's definitely going to be big, no question.
There's a lot broader audience into this. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, I could give a rat's behind about Infinity Wars, but I would want to see this. I don't get to the theater much because I have disabilities, but if I did, I would definitely go this weekend. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to wait till it's out on DVD, but I'm definitely want to hear... I don't want any spoilers, but I definitely want to hear how you liked the actor playing Han Solo after you see it.
Okay, we'll regroup after this weekend.
Yes, and we'll report on it to all you in a future episode. So.
Yeah. Well, moving on to another movie that's coming out very soon is... Well, it's kind of clumped together, so we're going to talk about the animated short Bao that is the short that leads into Incredibles 2, and then we'll also talk about Incredibles 2. So let's start with Bao, though.
Okay, first of all, I find this very bizarre for them to release a trailer for a short subject. And second of all, it's not much of a trailer as far as what you think of a trailer. It's more like 45 seconds of the actual short.
Right.
So, and it just seems like a bizarre, like an onion that comes to life.
It's not an onion.
It looks like an onion.
I know it kind of does, but
what
it's
is
like
it?
It's like a sticky bun.
Oh, I thought it was an onion. It's
not an onion.
It's white and it has like an onion.
It does have
top.
like kind of like a pointy shape at the top, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a sticky bun.
Oh. And is this like an Asian?
Yeah, like a Chinese dish. So like it'll be kind of larger and they put like meat inside of it.
Yeah, I know what a sticky bun is, but I'm questioning because the little boy doesn't look Asian to me.
Well, and it's also not a little boy.
Oh, it's a girl? See, I'm all confused.
It's a older woman.
Oh, I thought it was a little boy.
No.
And, like, are they supposed... Does this take place in Asia, or is she American?
I think so. She's Chinese.
She's Chinese? Because her eye... Well, it sounds terrible, but she's got rounder eyes than I do. I know that sounds awful, but I'm just confused about her ethnicity, because she's not... She doesn't look like the ethnicity that they're trying to say she is, and that... I don't understand why you can't just make her look like what a Chinese person looks like. Is there something wrong with doing that? Like, making them look like a real Chinese person?
I don't know.
It seems really confusing to me.
You know, I didn't realize that Russell from Up was Asian.
Yeah, I knew that. I could tell
but I didn't know that. I couldn't really tell as well, so I don't know.
Yeah, and see, I love that because it's just like it has nothing to do with the plot, and it's not even referenced in the movie.
Right.
He's just Asian, and that's just what it is, and it doesn't make a difference.
Right.
See, I love that. Mm-hmm. But in this case, like, if it's supposed to be some sort of a story that has a connection to China or the Chinese culture in some way, then why does she look like a European person? I don't understand.
I don't know. Hopefully, maybe it was just that clip, and maybe the rest of the short.
Her eyes are like circle round, like they're rounder than round. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're rounder than European eyes are round. So what are they trying to like be non-racial by not making her eyes the way Asian eyes are shaped?
You think maybe it could be like, because this is Pixar, so maybe does it have something to do with the CGI and they can't, like, maybe if they do it, the shape doesn't really come across in the CGI?
No, because I feel like they did it with Russell and he looked all right. And I mean,
he looked fine, but to me, I couldn't tell he was Asian.
I could tell he was Asian, but I never mentioned it to you because it doesn't matter.
Right, it doesn't.
And probably nobody else mentioned it because it doesn't make a difference.
Right, you're right. It doesn't make a difference.
And it shouldn't make a difference. But
no, and it definitely doesn't. And it doesn't.
Because it has nothing to do with the plot. But in this case, I feel like it. I can't say for sure, but I feel like it it does have something to do with the plot, especially because the character is an Asian dish, a traditional thing from China. But I don't know. Right. Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't have any. I feel like it's silly to put out a trailer for a short subject cartoon.
Right.
Because the Pixar cartoons are usually like, what, 2.5 minutes long?
Yeah, something like that.
So they put out 45 seconds of it. So it's almost like, a quarter of the whole short has already been seen. So
right. I don't know why they put that out. Because usually they won't bizarre. Even tell you.
Yeah.
And then you just go to the theater because you're going to see Incredibles 2, and then you see the short in the beginning because you always know a Pixar short is going to come before the movie.
Right. It always has. So, why? I don't get it.
Yeah.
It looks cute. Nothing to write. Nothing. I don't know. It doesn't look like anything all that different. Or it kind of looks old hat, like not something Pixar's already done. It doesn't look like anything innovative or anything to me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. So, like, the story
what did you think of it?
I think it looks cute.
And it looks cute, but,
So, here's the story, though. So it's an empty nesting Chinese mom who makes an adorable pork dumpling that comes to life, kind of similar to like a Pinocchio kind of a thing.
Okay.
And the person who made this short, she kind of says that it's a magical modern day fairy tale, kind of like a Chinese gingerbread man story.
Okay.
And it follows the complexities of a mother-child relationship. So to me, that's intriguing because how are you going to do all of that in like you said, 2.5, 3 minutes? How are you going to convey that story to me in that? So I'm interested.
I think this woman has dementia.
No.
All her kids have left the house and now she's...
Oh, I hope not.
She's seeing her food turn into babies.
I hope that it doesn't turn out to be something like that.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But it just seems like a bizarre story. I don't know.
So, the director is the first ever woman to direct a Pixar short film.
Well, that's about time.
Right. I know. Right.
But I feel like, why are you if that's the case, why are they putting out, spoiling it?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why you put in 45 seconds of this short because, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
But I will be seeing it when I go see Incredibles 2. And speaking of which, let's just move on to Incredibles 2. So what did you think of this trailer?
This is what I was alluding to a couple minutes ago when I said I know the entire plot based on the trailer because I already know who the villain is. And it's going to be like a surprise, but I already know who it is based on what I saw. Unless they pull a double surprise on me. Because they've been known to, Pixar has been known to lead you into one direction and then pull the rug out from under you. So maybe that's what's going to happen. But so far, I think that businessman type guy that's doing the presentation with the slideshow, and he's the one that recruited the mother to come back to work as a superhero, and he's trying to bring the whole supers back to the mainstream. He just seems like he's gonna turn out to be the villain. He looks like a good guy, and then you're gonna find out that he's the one behind all the stuff that's been going on.
Right.
The bad stuff. And then the mother kind of alludes to it by saying how he's trying to keep her away from her family and then committing crimes in order to solve crimes.
Right. In order to solve crime, she has to break the law, something like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's that might be another thing. He's kind of, he's trying to trick her into breaking the law because he's convincing her that it's for the better good when it really is serving his evil plot, his evil purposes. And
that's very close to the first one.
Yeah, and then sort of, because he emulated, the original villain emulated and wanted to be Mr. Incredible, and then he ended up becoming his nemesis. But anyway, the other thing that I feel is going to happen is he's going to, make that guy, the presentation guy, is gonna like make Mr. Incredible jealous because he's gonna think they have some sort of thing going on, extramarital thing, when in fact it's perfect. There's nothing going on, but but that character wants something to go on, but Mrs. Incredible doesn't answer to any of his advances, so she's perfectly innocent, of course. So I see all that already happening based on just the trailer. And the two guys, the fathers from the two families, get together to save her at the end because she's gotten wrapped up in the whole thing with this bad guy, and now they have to go out together and save her. Because they show that scene where he's like getting his costume on, right, and everything.
Yeah,
so
Mr. Incredible and Frozone.
Frozone, yeah. So that whole thing. So it's like it's giving too much away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely going to be a fun journey, but don't give the plot away in the trailer, for gosh sakes. I mean, anybody with half a brain is going to put all those puzzle pieces together.
Well, they're playing the first 15 minutes of this movie at Disneyland.
Is that what their preview is?
Yes.
Just showing the first 15 minutes? That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So you go in there, watch like the first 15 minutes, you're ready to like watch more, and then they kick you out.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's not even right.
That's how they do their previews there when they do it at the theme parks.
Oh, I don't like that. See, I've never watched a preview at a theme park. I kind of refuse. I don't like that whole... I don't like them turning a theme park, a Disney theme park especially, into a commercial. So I'm kind of opposed to that whole practice. But, I mean, the one time I had the opportunity to see a trailer, I mean, it wasn't even something I had any interest in at all. It was when I was in Florida this past winter, and they showed... They're showing the trailer for, what's that one with Whoopi Goldberg?
A Wrinkle in Time.
A Wrinkle in Time, which tanked.
Yeah.
In the box office, yeah. And from what I've seen, the reviews and everything, it was pretty awful, but... Anyway, yeah, what do you think of the trailer? I mean, it looks like fun.
It does.
This is like the only sequel that that Pixar is doing that I approve of, because I feel like... I feel like a superhero... story is episodic in nature.
Correct, yeah.
So, sequels are just kind of a natural thing with a superhero story.
Yeah.
Whereas with some of these other things, it's just like, ugh.
Right. Like, how many Cars movies do you really need?
Because with a superhero story, there's always a new villain, a new adventure, a new case to solve.
Yep.
So...
Yeah. No, I think this movie looks really fun. I love that Mrs. Incredible is like the superhero, like the main focus of the movie. I love that.
I like. But I don't like what I think is going to happen where, the men have to come in and save her.
Yeah, I hope that is not true.
I hope that too, because that just completely defeats the whole
Here's what I'm
purpose.
hoping, is that what ends up happening is that she is on a mission and the whole family comes and she realizes that she's strong by herself, but she's stronger as a family with them all working together, and they all become like this one big unit. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, just like that's exactly what happened in the first one.
Right, correct. But I mean, you got to get the kids in.
And I am excited to see the baby.
Oh my gosh, Jack.
Find his superpowers.
Yes.
See, this is one of my favorite Pixar movies. We're going to talk about another one of my favorites, which I also feel is a good one to do sequels for in a few minutes. But it's just like, why did they wait so long?
I know.
To do a sequel?
10 years.
All these actors are like getting old. They're not going to be able to do the voices the same. We need Incredibles 3 and 4.
Well, it's
5.
already not. The boy is obviously not the same voice because the boy from the 10 years ago does not have the same little boy voice.
Obviously not.
Right. No, but I mean,
if he did, he'd be a real superhero.
Yeah.
Super puberty boy.
Yeah. I don't think anybody wants to be that superhero.
No.
Oh. Yeah, but I mean, I like, so the scenes that they show where Bob Parr, that's his unsuper name, when he's taking care of all the kids, that looks hilarious.
Yeah.
That looks like the funniest part.
It's like
and also,
Mr. Mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then when they move into that new house, oh my gosh.
It looks like the queue for... It looks like the Q building for the new Incredicoaster.
Exactly, it is.
Yeah,
I think it is modeled
based
after that.
Yeah.
But that looks awesome because I love mid-century modern design, and that is over-the-top mid-century modern, and I love it. I would love
to live in that house, yeah.
Totally. I would totally live in that house. So I'm excited to see that house in the movie.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Edna Mode again.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
She's great. Yeah, I really think this is a great movie, and I have no problems with it. It looks like fun. It looks like, Pixar doing its thing, and it's going to be very entertaining, and I'm a little disappointed that I had the whole plot kind of given away already before I'd even seen the movie, but prove me wrong. Maybe they're purposely trying to fool you, and then because they've done that in the past with other Pixar movies, where you think it's going to go in one direction, and then it completely flips around, so we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see this. It's June 15th is when it's coming out, so not even a month from now.
The guy that plays the, they didn't give his name away or anything, but he's like the businessman guy that does the presentation, and he's kind of in charge of the whole bringing the supers back into prominence. One thing that I think they're doing to try to fool you is they show him in like a control room, and then he's watching a closed circuit of the villain talking.
Oh, yeah.
So they're trying to make you think, oh, it's not him, because he's looking at, hey, that could be on videotape, people.
Well, I hope that your prediction is wrong, just because I
do
want them
too.
to do
I
the
hope
same
I'm
thing.
wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because I appreciate when I'm surprised and I don't see the plot twists coming.
Right.
So let's hope that I'm wrong. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, the next movie that we want to talk about. So this isn't
God.
a full. It's not a full trailer. It's
just
a teaser trailer of Christopher Robin, which is coming out August 3rd. And we definitely want to talk about this because even though it was like a minute and a half,
I was hysterical.
Yes.
I'm still not over it.
Oh my gosh. That teaser trailer, I have never been so affected by a minute and a half of film.
I was kind of affected by another one we're going to talk about, but probably to a little bit lesser degree than this one. This one really struck a nerve and brought not a few, but a lot of tears.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Just because, okay, so what happens is they show a middle-aged guy with a family, and he's having all these problems and at work and stuff, just all these struggles, and I guess it's the depression or something. And so there's just all sorts of bad things happening in his life, and he's sitting on a park bench, doesn't know what to do, and just all of a sudden, oh my god, I can't even talk about it.
I know.
This little bear doll.
Well, no, first you hear it. You hear the voice. God.
And it's Jim Cummings.
Yes, that's what did it for me, is the voice.
I know, yeah.
Before I
me
even
too.
Saw. Yeah.
And he turns around and goes, Pooh? He recognizes him.
Ugh.
And it's like it's the doll of him. Like it works because it's supposed to be his dolls, and in the actual story of it, it's him playing with his teddy bear and his little tiger doll, and he gives them all these little names and creates a whole fantasy world with them. But they've come back to life for him as an adult in their non-cartoon, their true life forms. So you got Jim Cummings, and he says, what's that line he says where Pooh talks about his wrinkles? He says something funny.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember exactly what he says, but oh my gosh. so cute.
It is adorable, and I love, what's the actor? I forget his name.
It's Ewan McGregor.
I've always enjoyed him in movies. I liked him in he was really good in AI. Was he the one in AI? Yeah. Was he?
Let me look it up.
Well, I know he was in what's that other one I like? It's a musical.
Oh, Moulin Rouge?
Yes, I liked him in that. Yeah. I always liked him as an actor. I thought he was a good actor.
Well, I don't know if you remember, or if maybe you didn't see the first the episode 1, 2, and 3, but he's Obi-Wan, young Obi-Wan.
Yeah. I saw the first 3.
I didn't know if you saw them since you said you weren't feeling that.
I did watch them, but I was disappointed. And as I got to each one, I was more and more and more. It's like by the time I got to the third one, I was like, oh my goodness. But anyway, this looks like anybody that grew up with these characters, which is basically everybody grew up with these characters.
Right, who didn't, right.
Yeah. One thing that kind of annoyed me and threw me off, and has nothing to do with the actual trailer itself, because that was basically perfect.
Right.
From the studio that brought you Beauty and the Beast, like, why are you telling people what Disney is? Like, people don't know what Studio Disney is? Right,
and it has the logo there.
You need to remind people that Disney did Beauty and the Beast and Winnie the Pooh. Like, what idiot doesn't know that already? That is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
I don't know.
From the studio that brought you Mickey Mouse. Like, dumb. Other than that, I thought it was absolutely...
Yeah.
Like, just, when I first heard about this, I was, like, very skeptical.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And, like, do they really need to do this? Sounds kind of dumb.
Right.
But after seeing that trailer, I'm completely I've swallowed the pill. I've completely been convinced this is going to be absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see it. I am going to be bringing a box of tissues with me.
Yes.
Looks like it's going to be one of those heartbreakers. And I know it's going to end really sad where he has to say goodbye to Pooh again. And at the end, I can't. I'm already upset. Because I was always upset at the end of the actual cartoon.
Yeah.
Where they part ways at the end. Mm-hmm. Where they say, where Sebastian Cabot says, wherever he goes... and whatever he does, there'll always be a special... he says his little line at the end, and they show Christopher Robin, and he's saying how he has to go off to school and leave Pooh, and he has to grow up and leave Pooh, how that all ends. That always made me cry. So this is definitely gonna be even worse, because it's all live action.
Right, right.
Oh my gosh, I don't even think about...
this looks awesome. Like... I just have chills talking about it and thinking about, like, what this movie is going to be. And, I mean, Winnie the Pooh, that CGI character
Do you think the other characters are going to be in it, or just Pooh?
Yes. No, the other characters are going to be in it. So, it's Tigger, Eeyore, Owl, Piglet, Rabbit, Kanga, and Roo.
Is the gopher going to be in it?
He's not listed.
He's not in the book,
He's not listed, so I don't know, but...
Gonna have heffalumps and woozles?
I just think this is gonna be good, and it's not even that long from now coming out, August 3rd, so...
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait to see the actual real trailer, not just the teaser.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited for this. This is gonna be good.
I am, too. I think out of everyone we're talking about tonight... Mm-hmm. I'm probably the most excited for this one.
This one.
Believe it or not. Even though I'm pretty excited about all of them, actually. But this one's probably my number one. Just because it really struck a emotional chord. And I feel like this is a completely different twist on the story. It's not a remake. It's something completely different. It's looking at it from a different angle, and so I'm cool with it. I feel like this is a movie that needs to exist. Like, it makes sense to me. Like when they redid Beauty and the Beast, did we need that?
Like the live action Beauty and the Beast is what you're talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
So this feels like a different thing entirely.
Well, because this is, like, Christopher Robin does live in the live action world.
Yeah.
So that's why it fits.
At the beginning of the animated, they show his nursery.
Right. And it's not animated.
Right.
Yeah, it's real life nursery. With real toys and
everything.
And
I mean, the real Christopher Robin was a real person. And A.A. Milne wrote the stories based on his actual stuffed animals.
Yeah.
So it's all based on a real situation, and then he took it to a fantasy level.
Right.
Looking at it through imagination. Yeah.
This is going to be good. So, yes, we'll keep you updated if, when we see the trailer and, how, if our feelings have changed or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, hopefully not. Hopefully only for the better.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one.
Yeah.
I haven't, like, felt like that for a new Disney movie in a long time.
Yeah.
Like, it struck me that way, emotionally like that.
Yeah. If you guys haven't seen the teaser trailer, you guys need to go watch this.
Yeah. I mean, I think the last time I had, like, an emotional connection to a new Disney movie coming out was Beauty and the Beast. Way back in the early 90s when because they did a special on it on 2020. I remember with Barbara Walters and Hugh Downs.
Yeah.
And they did a whole, like, sneak peek at it before it came out. And it was the first time I ever heard the song Beauty and the Beast. Because they played it on that, a little snippet of it. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be an amazing, just hearing that song for the first time brought tears to my eyes by how, like, fantastic that song was and how beautiful and perfect it sounded.
Yeah.
I think that's the last time I ever felt that way about a new Disney movie coming out. And what was that, 25 years ago?
Yeah, that was like 91 or something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's
been
crazy.
That long since I was so excited about a Disney movie. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, the next movie we're going to talk about, we have a full trailer for, and it's Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, which is coming out November 21st. What'd you think of this one?
Well, again, this is the original is one of my favorite Pixar movies. Well, it's not Pixar.
It's not Pixar,
it's Disney.
no.
I think of it as Pixar.
Disney, like, computer animation.
Yeah, I think of it as Pixar because it just seems so much like a Pixar movie.
It does. You're right. Yeah.
But, yeah, I loved the original. I thought it was fantastic. So I'm definitely looking forward to this one, and it looks really good from the trailer. The only thing I was a little, like, they really focused on one particular scene, and it was kind of gross. And I was like, first of all, I don't feel that should be in the movie, because it just seemed really kind of, like, upset me in a way. Like, it was disturbing. It was more disturbing than funny.
Yeah.
They bring, Penelope, that's her name, right? Vanellope. She brings out, there's this, like, game where there's, like, a squirrel. Is it a squirrel on one side and a bunny on the other side? And the squirrel,
like a bunny and a cat or something like that.
Yeah. And one of them drinks the milkshake, and then the other one eats the pancakes. And it's like a little baby game on, how they have little games like that for kids, very little kids, to play on the computer or on the phone. And Vanellope brings out this huge cart filled with pancakes, and they really focused on this one scene for some reason.
Yeah.
Out of all the things to, like, show from the movie, why were they showing this one thing? But regardless, I guess the way the bunny is programmed, he has to eat the pancake if you give it to him. He has no choice. So he starts, like, blowing up, like, getting bigger and bigger, and then I guess the bunny explodes and dies because they switch over to the little baby watching it on the screen, and she sees it happen. You don't see it happen, but you see her reaction to it.
And you hear it like a
and
boom.
You hear it, and it's this cute little bunny, and it dies.
Yeah,
in a horrific and painful way. And it's like, wow, this isn't funny. This is horrifying.
Yeah.
Why are you showing me this? Why, Disney, are you focusing on this morbid scene in the trailer? Did you find that funny? I thought it was sickening.
I'm wondering now that you're talking about it, I wonder if they just made that just for the trailer and it's not actually in the movie.
I hope so.
Because I don't see how that's like can continue a plot like with that like
well, maybe
1
they
minute
just
clip or something like that.
Maybe they're going through. Well, the whole thing is, instead of just being the video games that are not connected,
right?
Now it's later. Like, I guess the first movie was in the 80s, and now we're in the mid 90s when the internet first started. So they're all discovering the internet and everything. So maybe Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope are going around just like to different internet things and exploring them and kind of discovering all sorts of different little things as kind of a montage kind of a thing. But that's how I would see it being used. But I don't like it. Just kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It seems so kind of. Is that something I really want to? Like, if I took a little kid to see that, I don't think that's what I would want a little kid to be exposed to. I don't know if I like that scene.
Yeah.
Am I being a little frigid or?
No, I mean, I can understand, especially when the kid screams, it's like a real scream, and she's in a car seat in a car. So, and like, the mom is driving.
And they show the adorable little bunny suffering.
Right. Right.
It's like, I don't want to see that.
Right.
Really,
and then the thing about it is, like,
this.
So if the mom is driving a car and your kid screams the way this kid screams, you think something like they're about to die. It's like that kind of scream. So you would be like instantly like trying to pull over to find out what's happening, but it really is just a game.
I think this was an attempt at comedy, but I didn't find it funny at all. I mean, I enjoyed the rest of the trailer. And because I love the characters. I wonder what happened to Fix-It Felix. He's not even shown. Is he even going to be in this?
No, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's going to be in it. But, well, the thing about the trailer is they don't really tell you much about the story other than the whole internet. So now they have access to the internet, and that's it.
Anything away. Yeah,
right.
You only know kind of the general premise. You don't know anything about the plot at all.
Right. You don't know if there's like a bad guy like there was in the first one.
They don't show anything. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think
there was another point where I thought they were, I don't know if they like, it seemed like they made a cut and there's going to be something in the movie that wasn't shown in the trailer, and I hope not, because they were showing Ralph get like bombarded by these little characters that were ads, sort of like internet ads.
Yep, like pop-ups.
Yeah, and they went around, and then there was one that he looked at, but you didn't hear what the ad was.
Oh.
And I'm hoping it's not something adult, because you get on the computer, you get bombarded with a lot of that type of content, that adult content. I hope they're not making a joke with that for a children's movie, and they cut it out of it, because it seems like it jumps,
right,
and you don't hear what that one character showed him. You just kind of see Ralph looking at it and kind of disgust and walking away. So I hope they don't have like some line in the movie that somehow,
I mean, if they're going to do that, though,
increase the size, kind of a joke.
It's
I won't
gonna
say
be
any further than that, but you know what everybody knows what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't want that in a children's movie.
Yeah. I mean, they do that. Like, I think they did that in the first one. They had some jokes for adults, but they weren't adult jokes.
Yeah, it's okay to have jokes that go over a kid's head, but not that make references to inappropriate things.
I mean,
hear.
I would hope that they know better than that.
I hope so, but it seemed like that was a place to put a joke like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So I'm hoping I'm wrong on that, too. So,
right.
I'm a little, skeptical about this movie that I was really looking forward to. Is it gonna, have some controversy going on, or I don't know. We'll see.
I hope not. I mean,
oh, goodness.
Yeah, I really like the first one. This looks like it fits right into that world. Now they are able to, you thought they had a big world before where they could move in between the different video games that were all connected by power cords. Well, now they're all connected by the internet.
Yeah, so it's like carte blanche. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's a good premise, and it definitely fits in with the Wreck-It Ralph's world. And, I mean, I'm looking forward to all of the little cameos. Just like the first one, they put all of these little things in. And, they're going to do that again for this one. So I think this looks really cool.
So this is to me, because, of course, I didn't see it, and I will never see this movie, but I saw all sorts of spoofing of it and people making fun of it. That recent movie that came out called the Emoji Movie.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It seems like this is Disney's version of it, and they're going to do it the right way, whereas that movie was completely crass and cheap and terrible. So it's Disney's take on this fad that a lot of lesser competent studios have been tackling. There's also, what's that other movie with Adam Sandler with all the video things?
Or Pixel or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of terrible movies that have been focused on the internet. So hopefully this will be the first good, well-done movie with an internet theme.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, the first one was amazing, so...
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, definitely.
Of recent years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we have one more movie trailer that we want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, of course, Mary Poppins Returns, which comes out December 21st. So right in time for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think, Chris?
Well, the music was amazing. And I'm wondering if it's a song. If it's going to be a song in the movie with lyrics. And we're just hearing an instrumental version, because it sounds like it could be a song. It has the right, and it also, what I really loved about it, it's not that modern sound that movies have in their background music. It's very 60s sounding, very Sherman-y sounding music to me, which is a good sign, because my fear is it's going to have the typical movie music of today, which to me, it all blends together. It all sounds the same. I mean, some of it is beautiful. Some of it is very generic and dry. So I'm glad that Disney is doing something that's more in line with the original movie when it comes to the background music. So that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Another good sign is there's a lot of little... I mean, just with this short little trailer, there's a lot of really clever Easter eggs to us fans of the original, like when she looks in the mirror and the mirror stops and winks at her, which is, an homage to the original Spoonful of Sugar sequence. And then they have the kite.
Yes.
Which is the same kite from the original with the mended kite. But one thing, so there are things I really liked, and they're intriguing. The music, some of the little details they added, the street they showed looks the same, the buildings look the same. You can see Admiral Boom's ship on top of his building, on top of his house, just like in the original. So they did a good job of... It's definitely Cherry Tree Lane, there's no doubt about it. That's the same street. One thing I didn't like is how gray everything looked.
Yeah.
Because in the original, it wasn't... They had... Even when it was rainy, everything was bright colors. They had a scene with rain, but Mary Poppins had on this bright blue dress, and it was just Technicolor explosion. in that movie. And this movie looks like very toned down in the colors, very gray. I don't know if it's just the scenes that we're being exposed to, because this is just a teaser.
Right.
Maybe there's other sequences that are much more colorful, but to me, like, it just seemed very dark and muted colors and gray, and I don't know if I like that.
Well, you know what I'm wondering is, does Mary bring the color?
Well, who knows? Because the one little snippet we got of her is colorful.
Right, it is
like,
colorful.
it's before she's seen in the trailers.
Yeah.
It's gray.
Right.
But, yeah, so, I mean, there's not much to say about it. I mean, it doesn't give much away. We know it's a sequel to Mary Poppins, and we know it takes place in the same street, and somehow the kite is involved, and there's a chimney sweep that looks a lot like Bert.
He's a lamplighter. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got kind of the same look as the chimney sweep, you know, yeah, and we know Mary Poppins is in it, and these two adults that we're not sure who they are, but given what we've heard, it's likely Michael Banks and his wife.
Right, and their children.
Yeah. So, I don't know how Jane fits into it, if she's Aunt Jane, or if she comes around in any way. So, I don't know. We'll see. I still, see, unlike the Pooh trailer where I'm so excited about it, like, I'm kind of excited to see what they do, but I still kind of have this thinking in the back of my mind, do they really need to do this movie?
Right.
Is it really...
Right.
You can't top the original. You
right.
know? And it's not really a different take on it, it's more of a continuation of the original thing.
I know. That is the thing, is like, don't mess with perfection. Why are you trying to... And you probably can't redo it and have another perfect movie.
You can't catch lightning in a bottle.
Exactly.
Twice.
So what... I mean, if anything is going to come close, it's got to be this. Because, I mean, Lin-Manuel Miranda, if anybody, he is the modern-day Dick Van Dyke. So... Yeah,
see, I think he's good. I'm glad they got him. And he's not even trying to be Dick Van Dyke.
Right,
he's a completely different character.
Yeah.
Because... And the logic to that makes sense, because this takes place 30 years later, during the Great Depression, but Mary Poppins is a mystical being who doesn't age. So she comes back the same age, but everyone else
is older.
On Earth is older. So Bert would be older too. So has a new friend who's a younger friend.
Right.
So that makes sense to me. I'm okay with that. I don't know if I like Emily Blunt in this role.
Yeah.
I don't, but the thing is, I wouldn't like anybody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just can't picture anyone filling. Talk about big shoes to fill. I mean, how could anybody even come close to Julie Andrews?
Right.
It's impossible.
Yes.
I mean, there's
totally
nobody who could ever live up to that performance, ever. So, I mean, it's one of the greatest performances of all time in musical theater, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Musical entertainment, I guess, because it's a movie, but...
Right, and she did win an Academy Award for her performance, so...
Yes, I know. So, I mean, there are things about the trailer that are nice, and I appreciate. Especially, one of my main concerns is the music. And I'm still concerned about it, because we only got a little hint of it.
Right.
So I really want the music to be in the same feeling of the original. I don't want it to sound like a modern movie, like every other modern movie soundtrack. They all sound alike to me. There's nothing fun about modern day movie music. It's all it's taken so seriously, and it's all dramatic, and just I feel like the background music from movies from the earlier years, from the early 70s back, just had so much more character, and just like Moon River and the music from The Wizard of Oz, and just had so much flair and style and uniqueness to each movie. It's like you hear the theme from Gone with the Wind, you know, and it just brings back so many emotions. You hear the music from Mary Poppins, the original, and it has a certain style that's all its own. It's Mary Poppins music. It's Disney music, but it has its own flavor to it that is nothing other than Mary Poppins. And I just hope that they're somehow are able to associate the soundtrack from this film with the original. And I know they say it's supposed to be a musical, right?
Yeah, there's score and songs.
So I hope it's as much of a musical as the original. They don't just throw in a few songs to appease people. I hope it's like a true out and out musical, like the original, where every 10, 15 minutes they have a big production number. Mm-hmm. Because if they don't do that, it's just not going to be what the original was. It's not going to feel like part of the original. That's the problem with making a movie like that today, is because there's so many people that think they know better. Yeah. In the entertainment industry. They think they know that people don't want what they actually do want. And it's all, decision by committee, and so I just feel like it's gonna get so watered down by people saying, oh, there's too many songs in this, some idiot executive.
Well, there's definitely gonna be there's definitely always gonna be somebody that says that. They say that about the original Mary Poppins now. I mean,
exactly, but that movie's a classic, and it's beloved by so many people, and yet people think they know better. That's exactly what I was saying. They think they know what audiences want when they have no idea.
Right. Well, I really hope that, I feel the same way as you. This is, just like you, my favorite Disney movie. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that they needed to redo it, but they have, so they better do it right. And I don't want to have to go to this movie and be like, I can't compare it to the original. Don't compare it to the original, because how can you not? So I really don't. Yeah. Door. Right. So in order for me to come away feeling fulfilled and like, okay, I can see where this fits into the Disney canon now, they need to have something almost exactly equivalent.
Yeah, it needs to fit with the original in order to be accepted.
Right.
And it's the same with the Star Wars franchise. Yeah. It's a franchise that there's certain rules, certain, film techniques that they use that, like Star Wars, one of the things they use is like those fadeaways. Mm-hmm. Right. Where they have like the line that it goes across the screen and interchanges. Like those type of little touches they try to include in the newer movies, to connect it to the old. And the music is very much another strong connection, because they haven't tried to change the music. It all sounds like part of the original musical score. And there's just certain aesthetical things that need to happen in order for it to feel like part of the same universe. So I feel strongly that Mary Poppins is like Star Wars in that you can't stray away from certain rules.
Right.
There's certain set rules with a movie that is so iconic that if you're gonna make a sequel, an official sequel, continuation of the story, it can't be like a remake.
Right.
It can't be a new take on it. It has to be a continuation of the original with the same sort of music, the same sort of flow, the same sort of feelings. You can't take it too far into a new. But I have a feeling that there's directors and art directors and just all these people involved in it that don't see it the way I do. And they're going to want to put their own mark on it, make it something that it's their thing, and it's not, part of what the original creators did. They want it to be unique and different.
Right.
And that's and there's some movies that's okay.
Right. Not this one.
This is not one of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we had similar conversations before about like the Haunted Mansion. Like these new Imagineers want to come in and put like a little stamp on these, classic attractions.
I was just thinking that too in the back of my head when I was saying this.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. Why mess with perfection?
Yeah, they want to tweak it and put their own signature on it.
Go create your own Haunted Mansion. Don't mess with the one we already have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Create a new thing that has imagination and story, and why mess with something else?
Right.
Anyway, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I love Lin-Manuel Miranda, and he is, part of the reason why I'm rooting for this film to be successful, and to pull this story off. And I mean, Dick Van Dyke has a cameo in it. So, I mean, that's just, that's like a cherry on top for me. I love Dick Van Dyke.
I wonder why Julie Andrews doesn't have a cameo.
I actually have the answer. So she was approached to do a cameo, but she turned it down, and she said she wanted it to be Emily's show.
I can see that.
Yeah, she was doing it as a favor to Emily Blunt. And that's really nice of her. And if maybe this is really awesome and successful and they do another one, and maybe Julie Andrews can be in that. But
oh God,
I don't know about all that.
Third, I can hardly handle a second one. Please don't make a third.
So do you know
it's going to go another 30 years. It'll be in the 50s,
maybe,
or the 60s.
No, not the 60s.
It'll take place the year that the actual movie came out. The first
64.
movie. Yeah.
Well, Angela Lansbury has a cameo in this movie too.
Oh, okay.
So I think she's doing the cameo that they actually approached Julie Andrews to do first.
I wonder if she's going to be like Mary Poppins' mother or something.
No, you want me to tell you her character?
Yeah.
It's the Balloon Lady.
Oh, I think I heard that. Instead, she's going to be kind of like the equivalent to the
Bird Lady.
The Bird Lady.
Yeah.
Feed the birds. Buy a balloon.
Tuppence a bag. Yeah.
Tuppence a balloon.
So, So, I mean, those two classic actor and actresses are in this. Also, Meryl Streep is in this, too.
Oh,
she's playing Topsy-Turvy Poppins, Mary's eccentric cousin.
Enough with Meryl Streep in these Disney movies. I can't get over... She had some press conference a few years ago where she said some really nasty things about Walt Disney.
She did?
And she said how he wasn't equal to women, and she bought into the whole, things that are said online about Walt that aren't true, and she was asked some questions. This was, I think, when Into the Woods came out.
Oh,
and she was doing like a press circuit, and she made some sort of speech where she just said some like really negative things about Disney, and yet she's in all these Disney movies. So I'm so over her. I'm so turned off by her. It's like she's a hypocrite then. If she's so against Disney and yet she's in all these Disney movies, I don't understand. I don't get her. I don't even know why she had to even say anything.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, why would you...
Especially because it was a bunch of stuff that was, like, not informed.
Right, because any Disney historian will tell you the complete opposite of Walt Disney.
Yeah, any legitimate.
Right.
That's not trying to make a buck by making tabloid stuff.
The real truth about Walt Disney is that he treated women equally and paid them a lot more than what any other company paid women back then.
Well, I wouldn't say he treated them equally. But he treated them a lot better than most other companies.
Right.
At that time.
Right. And
so
he definitely paid them an equal wage.
And, one of the things is that he wouldn't hire a woman to be a animator.
Right.
He would only hire them to be inkers and painters, which is very true. So, that, that's kind of, but I mean, this was what, the 30s, 40s, 50s. Come on. Nobody hired women to do certain jobs back then. It was just the way things were. So you're going to blame Walt Disney for being just the same as every other executive in those days? I mean, and we don't need to get, it has nothing to do with our topic, but I'm just saying, he may not have hired any female animators, but he certainly had a lot of female Imagineers, and some very notable ones.
Right.
So
right.
I don't feel like, and he did have women in other roles, major roles in the films, like Mary Blair. I mean, she wasn't just an ink and painter; she was a concept
she was like
artist.
an animator.
She didn't do the actual animation, but she did backgrounds and concept renderings and things. She was kind of a big deal. So, I mean, I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the different movie topics that we wanted to talk about today. But we're not done. Because we have another trivia segment. So,
yay.
I made up questions.
Make Chris look stupid.
No. Okay. So these questions are not as hard as the other ones. I had to make those hard because that was like, about the parks, and it was just for you. These movie questions should be a little bit easier, at least I think.
Okay. We'll
Hopefully,
see.
yeah. So I have 10 trivia questions just about movies, just about Disney movies. So, but it's all over, so it's animated, live action, like everything.
Okay.
And it's also like, it's fairly current. There's some questions about movies that are,
See, the current thing is what's going to throw me off.
Yeah. I mean,
I know a lot more about the older movies than I do about the newer ones.
Right. Well, I mean, it's kind of, I tried to balance it out. So,
okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay, we'll see.
All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my first question. 3 Disney animated characters presented the Academy Award for Best Animated Short at the 64th Academy Awards presentation in 1992. Name the 3 characters and the feature film they are from.
Oh, they're all from the same film. 92. So that would have been a movie that came out in 92 because they have the award in 93 for 92, right? So...
Well, the presentation was in 92.
Oh, so it would be characters from a 91 movie. It would be for the 91 awards, which is held in 92. Right? Because they award it like the February after the year is over.
Right.
So the most recent would be Beauty and the Beast then. So I'm guessing it's 3 characters from Beauty and the Beast. If it's 3 characters, I would probably say Mrs. Potts, Cogsworth, and Lumiere.
Is that your final answer?
Well, it's probably wrong, but that's my educated guess.
Close. Okay, so you got the movie right. Yes, it's Beauty and the Beast, 1991. The characters were Chip, Belle, and the Beast.
Oh.
So the other 3.
None of the ones I named.
Right. But you know what? If I got this question, I probably would have said those 3 as well.
Because they're kind of like a trio.
Right. And they kind of play off of each other. So, yeah. So, all right, the next question. I'm wondering if you know the answer to this, which is what I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Why is Cruella de Vil's hair white on one side and black on the other?
I think he based it on a person he knew, Mark Davis. He knew someone in real life that was a lot like her, and he based it on her, and maybe that person had black and white hair. That's the only thing I can think of. Or maybe, my first thought would be, which probably is not the answer, would be that it was because it was kind of like a really high fashion trend at that time to be a little wild with your hair, and he wanted to kind of make this person seem like she was kind of really high fashion in a trendsetter kind of a woman. But I think she was based on a real person that he knew, and he was he remembered her having black and white hair, but I'm probably wrong. There's probably a much less complicated reason.
Well, yes and no. Okay. So, that is not correct, and I'll give you the answer. So, according to the original book, The 101 Dalmatians by Dodie Smith, Cruella apparently drank ink as a child, which is the root of her hair problems.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Right. I know.
That's so bizarre.
I know.
That drinking ink would change your hair.
Only half of it, though.
Yeah. That's strange.
I know. I thought that the answer was strange, too. That's why I was like, I wonder if Chris knows this. So...
I would have never thought that.
That's where he got it really... from, the book.
Okay. Well, to me, it just seemed like a fashion choice.
I know. And the way that, like, the clothing on her is drawn, I kind of would see why you would think that. Because she's she has fashionable clothes.
Why would you even think she drank ink?
I know.
What does that even have to do with the story at all?
I know. I wonder why they say that in the book. But,
I'll have to read the book one day.
Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. The next question. The Bear and the Bow was the original title of what Disney film?
Oh my god. The Bear and the Bow. Robin Hood?
No.
Well, I'm thinking like there's a bear in it. And
I know.
Robin Hood has
with a bow. Yeah. No.
Oh. I have no idea.
The answer is Brave.
Oh, see, I don't even know. I don't even think about Brave.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It's like, it's not my favorite.
When I saw the answer to that, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But
it does
I would
make
have never
sense.
have guessed that either.
No.
Yeah.
It does make sense, but...
All right. So
I got 3 wrong so far.
Yes. That's okay. Number 4. In Who Framed Roger Rabbit, who does Eddie Valiant confuse with Jessica Rabbit when he travels to Toontown?
Okay. I don't know if she has a name,
She
but
does.
it's... Oh, well, I don't know the character's name, but I know exactly who it is. It's that one that goes, "Oh, Maya!"
Yes.
And then she starts chasing him. She was in, like, some of those old Looney Tune cartoons from the 40s, I guess. But I didn't know she had a name. I just thought she was some crazy character.
Well, maybe originally she didn't, but she has one now.
No.
And the character's name is Lena Hyena.
That's not even Disney. It's from another studio. They
No,
just borrowed
it still counts. All right, so maybe you might guess this one. Number 5.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Who is the only actor to have starred in at least one Disney feature film during the 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s?
Well, I'm going to have to guess it's Dean Jones. It's the only one that was in a lot of... I mean, he was in more... I think I looked at it. I tried to figure out what actor appeared in more Disney movies than any other actor. And it's Dean Jones.
Is that your final answer?
I'm going to say... Because I know he was in... Yeah, because he was in Herbie Fully Loaded, which was in the 2000s. So yeah. Okay. Dean Jones.
That is incorrect.
Ah!
It's Kurt Russell!
But he was in a Disney movie in the 2000s?
Yeah.
He doesn't do Disney movies
The Guardians
anymore.
of the Galaxy. Volume 2.
God. I think Dean Jones was too, because he was in Herbie Fully Loaded. He had a cameo.
Was he in a movie in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s?
Can we count TV? Because I know he was on Disney TV shows in the 80s and 90s.
No, a Disney feature film.
Well, I don't think he was in any feature films in the 80s and 90s. I know he was in the 60s and 70s for sure, and I know he was in that one from the 2000s with, what's her name?
With Lindsay Lohan?
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan.
I know he was in Beethoven, but that's not a Disney movie.
No. Maybe you're right. But I do know Dean Jones was in more Disney movies than any other actor.
More than Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought Kurt Russell was in the most.
No.
No?
Dean Jones. Yeah. I looked it up once.
Alrighty.
Kurt Russell's up there.
Yeah, Kurt Russell's definitely up there.
And the other one that was high up there was Kevin Cochran and the other one. The one that always plays his brother and stuff. The older one.
Oh, Tommy Kirk?
Tommy Kirk, yeah, they were up there too, but Dean Jones was the winner. And he wasn't even in a Disney movie until the mid-'60s.
Right.
I think the first one he was in was The Ugly Dachshund. Yeah.
Classic movies.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Number 6.
Or it might have been That Darn Cat. It was either The Ugly Dachshund or That Darn Cat was his first Disney movie. One or the other.
Alright, you ready for the next one?
Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed right now. I'm not getting any of these.
I'm sorry. I thought
That's
these were
okay.
going to be easier.
I'm not annoyed. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Alright. During early planning for the film Toy Story, what was Buzz Lightyear originally going to be named? I
do know that he had a different name, but I have heard about that, but I don't remember and I will never remember what it was. So there's no use in even trying to think of it. It's not in my memory bank.
Okay. Well, the answer is Lunar Larry.
Would never have gotten that. And I'm glad they changed the name too.
Definitely.
That's terrible.
Buzz Lightyear is way better.
Yeah.
So, okay, the next one. Number 7. Which full-length Disney animated feature includes the largest number of Grammy Award-winning artists, either providing a character voice or contributing to the film's score?
Oh my god. Grammy Award winning. Well, the Grammys didn't start till the 50s, I think, so we can... It's not going to be any of the really old ones, for sure. I'm thinking it's probably a more recent one. Because I don't think... I mean, as much as I love Phil Harris, I don't think he ever won a Grammy. Maybe he did, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think Louis Prima probably won a Grammy.
Yeah, he probably did.
Probably won several, but he had some big hits. But, gosh. Just instinctively, the first thing that came to my mind, and I'm probably wrong, is The Little Mermaid. So I'll just say The Little Mermaid.
That's not correct.
Oh my god.
I thought you would get this. You want me to tell you what it is?
What?
Oliver and Company.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
It features a total of 6 Grammy Award-winning artists.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Billy Joel, Bette Midler,
Midler,
Cheech Marin, who apparently has won a Grammy. Who knew?
Probably for a comedy album.
Yeah.
They give them for comedy albums.
Rita Pointer.
Oh, yeah.
And Huey Lewis and Barry Manilow provided or contributed to the score.
Oh, yeah. Didn't Huey Lewis sing the opening?
Yeah. Once Upon a Time in New York City. Yeah.
And Rita Pointer, one of the Pointer sisters, sang Streets of Gold.
Yeah, and she was one of the dogs, too.
One of the dogs, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense now that you say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, maybe Jodie Benson won one. And
she probably did.
What's her name? Won one. Gosh, can't think of her name. Pat Carroll.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's where I was thinking, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm wrong, as usual.
No.
I'll never get it right. Never, 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 never. We were talking about, that's kind of an inside joke. We were talking about old school Sesame Street characters. And for you younger people listening, there was a character that they would show that would always be trying to write a famous song. Like, it was like a news, like going back to see him, the origins of the song, and it was always a Kermit the Frog news flash. And he'd be at his piano and he'd be like, Mary had a little sheep. No, that isn't it. I'll never get it right. Never, never, never. Mary had a little cow. Oh, I'll never get it right. And he'd bang his head on the piano.
Old Sesame Street was classic.
Yes.
Alrighty.
A little more violent than the current
I know,
version.
that is true, yeah. Well, we got 3 more questions.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
I thought I was trying to change the subject.
I know. Do you want to stop?
No, I'm kidding.
Okay, question 8. What story by author Washington Irving did Walt Disney consider as a possible film for his first full-length animated feature?
Oh my God. I know who Washington Irving is, and I know a couple of the things he wrote, and one of them was turned into a segment of a full-length animated feature, but it wasn't his first animated feature. So the only other one I can think of that's a story written by him would be Rip Van Winkle, so I'll just say Rip Van Winkle.
You are
I only
correct.
know 2 stories. Oh, good, finally. Because I only know 2 that he wrote offhand. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Rip Van Winkle.
Yep, the story Rip Van Winkle was considered early on by Walt.
I didn't know that. I actually did not know that. I did not know that.
But you just deduced the right answer, so that's good.
Yeah.
Alrighty, 2 more. So, which 3 animated characters were originally going to be called Cheney, Lawton, and Quinn?
Okay, I think I know this. Now, your first instinct would be to say Huey, Dewey, Louie, but I think it's Lock, Stock, and Barrel from The Nightmare Before Christmas, because those 3 names are names of famous actors who played monsters in the classic Universal horror movies. Lon Chaney. What were the other 2?
Lawton and Quinn.
Yes, Lawton was another, like he was kind of like an earlier version of Vincent Price. I think he was like one of those narrator type, spooky narrator type. I might be wrong on that, but anyway, I think it was the original names for Lock, Stock, and Barrel from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Well, your thinking was correct, but your answer's wrong.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so these names were originally considered for the gargoyles in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, because those 3 actors all played Quasimodo in different movies.
Oh, yeah, because Lon Chaney did play Quasimodo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's Lon Chaney, Charles Lawton, and Anthony Quinn.
Okay.
So instead, they named the gargoyles Victor, Hugo,
Quinn,
and Laverne.
Anthony Quinn, he's a more recent actor, right?
I mean, I don't believe he's alive, but...
No, but he died,
But fairly recently.
Yeah, because I think he's the one who spoke at my college...
Oh, really?
Graduation. Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
What was his affiliation with your college?
Well, he lived nearby.
Oh, okay.
And so they just asked him and said yes. So he came by and gave the, what do you call it? Not the valedictorian.
No, I know what you mean. I can't think.
Like you have a famous person usually deliver some sort of a address at any graduation, or a local celebrity or somebody like that.
Yeah.
So we actually got somebody legit.
You did.
Yeah.
I got the mayor of Los Angeles at mine.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I guess.
Who was he at the time?
It was Antonio Villaraigosa.
Yeah, I don't even remember him.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was the 2000s, so.
Yeah, I was not living
Yeah, not there. Yeah.
I had moved away by then, yeah.
All right. One more question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What Pixar film was the first to win an Academy Award?
Oh, this is a trick question because you're going to think of full length, but I bet you it's a short subject that won Best Short Subject. I'm going to say that Luxo one with the lamp.
Mm-hmm.
That's my answer.
Okay.
It won Best Short Subject.
Well, you were right on the trick, but I mean, not that I
shoot.
that I wrote the question. I didn't write the question, but you like normally people would think like full length, Toy Story or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not that movie, but it was a full length movie. So it was actually Monsters Inc., which won for Best Original Song, If I Didn't Have You by Randy Newman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All of those other movies were nominated, but they didn't win.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I always felt like You Got a Friend in Me should have won for Best Song.
Yeah.
And the one that finally did get picked is not as good of a... It's still a cute song, but it's definitely... You Got a Friend in Me is better.
You think so?
Yeah.
I love this song.
Don't you?
I don't know. I
like both songs.
Monsters
Don't get me
Inc.
wrong.
is, for me, it's kind of nostalgic because that was basically my daughter's first movie that she was watching as a baby.
Yeah.
And so that I love that song. I love that movie. I could watch Monsters Inc. every day. I just love that movie.
I do love that song.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like if you put both songs in a boxing ring and, you know, You Got a Friend in Me would knock the pants off of...
I don't know. I disagree, actually.
I just feel like it's a better song. I think
don't
it's
know.
more famous and more, like, universally
It is more famous. That's true.
known and covered. And,
Yeah.
In fact, I was talking to a friend the other day because we were talking about all the different people that have covered that song,
Mhm.
because apparently they're going to have a lot of the Disneyland live performers doing Pixar songs during Pixar Fest.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
going to have the Dapper Dans and Coke Corner Pianist and the Dixieland bands and things. They're going to all do those covers. So we were like talking, that came up, and I said, I think You Got a Friend in Me is going to be the next White Christmas because everybody eventually is going to cover that song.
Right. I don't know. I mean, if I Didn't Have You with John Goodman and Billy Crystal singing it, I mean, and it's like the same actors who did the voices of the characters. I don't know. I just love that song.
Oh, I like it too. I like The Time of Your Life from A Bug's Life,
Yeah, that's
too.
a good song too.
They're all good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're
I love
Randy Newman.
Yeah, I love his songs.
Mm-hmm.
I love his songs from before he was working for Disney. There was a song, I think it was called, I forget what the name of it was, but it was in the movie Parenthood with Steve Martin, and it was a really good song. I think he wrote a couple commercial jingles that were really awesome. I think he did a Kodak one, and
Well, you know where I remember him from before Disney was I Love LA.
yeah, and Short People.
Yep. Well, I Love LA. They play that at every Southern California sporting event. So
Yeah.
you can't go anywhere without hearing
I think
that
he
song.
wrote the song. I think he wrote the jingle for NutraSweet
Oh, really?
when it first came out. Remember when they sent everybody a gumball in the mail?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Because nobody had tasted NutraSweet, so like everybody in America got a free gumball mailed to them, and there was a whole advertising campaign. And I think he wrote the jingle. It was, "Would you like to try something sweet?
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
It'll be real neat. Would you like to have something sweet?" If he didn't write it, it was definitely inspired by his style.
I remember that song. Yeah.
It might have even been him singing it, if I'm remembering the
probably.
commercial right.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are my questions.
The incredible edible egg. All these jingles are coming into my head. Oh, do you remember the beans and rice? Beans and rice, once or twice or even thrice.
What was that
Beans
for?
and rice is nice. It's one of those like little things they showed between cartoons.
Oh, okay.
They had the time. Remember the timer? Mm-hmm. Time for timer.
Oh yeah.
It was one of those.
That, yeah.
If it was somehow affiliated, it was the same animation style and the same like type of thing, but it was all about how you should eat beans and rice because they're healthy for you. And that was the little song. But that's stuck in my head my whole life. And then the other one is the world looks mighty good to me, 'cause Tootsie Rolls are all I see.
I remember that.
Oh, you younger people are so deprived. You missed all the wonderful commercial jingles.
I know, commercial jingles. They don't even have like theme songs for TV shows anymore. So
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I was watching one of those Fine Brother React things that they show on YouTube. And they were playing Guess That TV theme song. And it was just like, how can you even guess the song? It's not even a song. It's like an instrumental.
Oh, it was like
thing.
What up to date ones?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
weird.
all, like,
yeah.
younger people on there. They don't even know any of the old songs. Forget it.
Right.
I remember when TV theme songs had words.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. We're moving on up.
That's how Alan Thicke made his money.
I used to be sad. I used to be shy. That's from Alice. Remember Alice?
Yes.
Kiss my grits. Anyway, we're this is how Ruth and I generally talk with each other. We call it falling down the rabbit hole. We're giving you a little free example of our non-Disney conversations here.
Yes.
Anyway.
Alrighty, well, that concludes our movie episode and our trilogy of Little Mini news episodes.
And television theme song review.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and you'll hear from us soon. Bye.
We'll see you real soon.
I have listened to the cuckoo his cuckoo, and I've heard the roosters cock-a-doodle-doo.